Hi. Welcome to Reanime. Today I am going to talk about the thriller, psychological anime which was released in 2016 named Erased. The story starts with Satoru Fujinuma, who is a struggling manga artist and a part-time pizza delivery guy. He has an ability to revive time whenever tragedy is about to happen, which he calls revival. Keeping in mind he has no control over this ability, and whenever this happens, blue butterfly flies over him. On a normal day, he was going for delivering pizza, and suddenly he saw the blue butterfly and soon realized that something bad is about to happen. Generally he would be taken back a few minutes back in time. He quickly notices the odd things in the surroundings and manages to save the kid from a truck accident. By doing this he was hospitalized for 2 weeks, and later his mom, Sachiko, comes to visit him and decided to stay. The next day he and his mom went shopping, and again time revival happened. He and his mom searches for the odd things and saves a kidnapping of a girl, but his mom notices a strange guy who was about to kidnap a little girl. Her mom remembers that the same kind of incidents was happening in their town when Satoru was in elementary school, but they didn't discuss it. That night Satoru, his coworker Ayuri, who is a 17-year college girl and also works in the pizza delivery shop, and his mom had dinner, and Satoru went to drop Ayuri at her home. Meanwhile, a strange man came and murdered Sachiko. Upon returning he discovered his mom covered in blood. He got panicked. Police were after him, suspecting him of the murder. He tries to run. And in the moment of time he was sent back in 1988, 18 years back, where he was in his elementary school. He soon realized that these accidents are connected, which were happened in 1988 and what are happening in 2006, and decided to change the future. Furthermore, he has his memories of all the things that happened in 2006 while keeping that he is determined to change the future. The next day when he was going to school he notices a strange girl, Keo Hinazuki. She was isolated, antisocial, and often spends time alone. He remembers that she was killed a few days later according to his memories, and this girl was in his mind for 18 years because of that accident. During class, he notices some bruises on her legs. He soon realizes that she was being abused. To prevent her death, he tries to become friends with her. One day Keo was absent to class, and later, Satoru went to Keo's home and saw she was brutally beaten by her mother. Her body was covered in bruises, and Keo was not strong enough to stand against her mother. No evidence and support. Satoru feels helpless, and it ignites a fire inside him to save Keo from her miserable life. His birthday was arriving soon, and he gave invitations to Keo and his friends. To his surprise, Keo's birthday was also on the same day. He came to know about this information through his class teacher Gakuta Yashiro, and they discussed the Keo's situation. Satoru was with her all the time possible until the day of her death, which is March 3rd. There was a birthday party at Satoru's surprise birthday party for Keo, and they enjoyed it a lot, but for Satoru it was an important day, as the next day was March 3rd, and it was the day when Keo got killed. He was so anxious that he went to Keo's home late at midnight to check Keo's safe and whether he got succeeded in changing the future. She was safe, and he was happy that he changed the future. The next morning he came to know she was missing, and a few days later she was killed. He got panicked, and as he runs away terrified, he is transported back to 2006, where he was pursued by police, and he was on the run. He was all over the news. Ayuri found him. As she trusts him, she gave him a place to stay. She told Satoru about the strange man who is supposed to be council minister, who often visits the pizza delivery store and is friends with the manager. The strange-looking council minister stalks Ayuri and found her home. A fire accident broke out in Ayuri's home, but Satoru manages to save her, and she was hospitalized. Meanwhile, there was a note left by her mom on the desk. He checks. It was a number of her former coworker, Sawada. He fills in the details about the accidents from the past, and now he discovered there was several kidnapping that happened after Keio's death, and his adult friend Yuki, who was a good man according to Satoru, he was framed for the crimes. He was given access to the list of suspects' name, but he was unable to recognize them. Later, Ayuri met Satoru under the bridge. As they were talking and Satoru was sharing his feeling about how he was feeling helpless and unable to save others. Ayuri encourages him and suddenly the police caught him. He was handcuffed, they were taking him. He notices that same strange man who was walking out of his home. He got furious, and he shouts one chance to change the future, and he saw a butterfly flying over him, and he was sent back in 18 years back a few days back to Keio's death. He was relieved that he got a second chance, but he believed that this revival may be the last time it would happen, and he got the last chance to change the future. Every day goes same as it was going before. Satoru was with Keio all the time possible, but meanwhile, Kenya, who is the smartest kid in his group, notices the mature nature of Satoru and asks him what's bothering him. He told him about the Keio's situation and they both decided to save her. They planned to kidnap Keio to keep her safe till her death day, and Keio also agreed to their plan. So they kept her in an abandoned bus near the school and gave her necessary supplies. They often visit to check on her, but one night a strange man came into the bus. She was hidden behind the curtain. That man was angry. He kicked on the boxes and left the bus. He didn't notice Keio. She told about the incident and Satoru decided to keep her with him in his house. Later her mom, school teacher, and along with Children's Right Protection Team, they apprehend Keio's mother and her behavior towards her. As things were getting serious, Keio's grandmother came into the picture, took custody of Keio. She was saved from this abusive mother and given a new life. Satoru and everyone were happy. He began to like Yashiro. He was thinking of him as a father figure. Now Keio is safe. There were two other accidents he has to prevent. One was Aya Nakanashi and Hiromi Sugita. Hiromi was a member of Satoru friends group while Aya studies in different school. With the help of his friends, he became friends with Aya, and he successfully prevents the accidents that were going to occur. Everything was going good. Aya and Hiromi were kept out of harm's way. He notices Mizata, a classmate who falsely accused Keio of stealing money, and after that incident, she has been ostracized by others in their class. Satoru suspects she would be the perfect new target for the murderer, and he follows her to an ice hockey game along with the class. He was trying to come close to her. Meanwhile, Yashiro comes and they both followed Yuki's father truck, believing he might abduct her. Later, while driving, Yashiro reveals that the perpetrator is none other than he. On hearing, he was panicked. He was unable to move as he was stuck by the car's seatbelt. He told him how every time Satoru manages to save his targets and how it made him anxious, suspecting as if Satoru knows the future. In Satoru's mind, everything was becoming clear. By telling this, he left the car by keeping pressure on the accelerator and car went in the lake. As water was flooding into the car, Satoru was almost going unconscious. At that time he yelled, "Yashiro, I know your future." Yashiro got curious and he saved him. Yashiro explained how he was once inspired by the childhood incident where one mouse was above the body of other mice in the jar filled with water that kept him alive. He kept him as a pet. He explained how he could see the spider thread from hell on people's heads, giving context to the Japanese story, and how he cuts those threads to free them. According to Yashiro, Satoru was that mouse that was filling the void in him. That is why he chooses to save him to know the truth. 15 years have passed. It was 2003 and Satoru is now an adult. He is awoken from his coma. Meanwhile, his mother kept his body joints active by giving massages every 4 hours a day. His memory was blurry, and he couldn't remember correctly what happened. Later his friends Kenya and Hiromi came to visit him. Kenya became a lawyer and was working closely with Sawada, and Hiromi was becoming a doctor. As he was in the rehab center, Kao along with her baby came to visit him. By seeing her happy, his tears couldn't stop. He was happy. Kao told that she was married to Hiromi and her baby is named Mirai, the future, and thanks Satoru for saving their lives. When he touched Mirai's hand, he suddenly regains his memories. Later, Satoru told Kenya and Hiromi about everything that happened, and together they decide to expose Yashiro. Yashiro is now council minister. He later visits Satoru knowing he might remember the accident or not. But Satoru pretends he doesn't remember. He later took him to the roof of the hospital to kill him. He caught a phone which Satoru was recording their conversation. Satoru told him he knew everything about all his crimes and how he tried to kill him. They had a serious conversation. As Yashiro was curious about how he knew his future, but Satoru was busy telling him about his crimes. He suddenly rushes to jump off the hospital. Yashiro caught him. And Satoru told him that it was Yashiro who has suffered 15 years to know the truth. It was Satoru that kept him alive throughout this time. By saying this, he jumped off the roof but caught by his friends. And they arrest Yashiro. Now, Satoru has become a successful manga artist. He hangs out with his friends. He met his adult friend, Yuki, who was living peacefully with his family. The story comes to conclusion as it is snowing, and he is sitting under that same bridge reading his manga when he notices the blue butterfly flying around him, and he notices Ayuri. He was happy seeing her, and the story ended with Satoru saying, "I never stopped believing." So, this was the recap of Erased. It was filled with many thrilling situations, and it was impressive how Satoru always finds a way to save the accidents. What do you think about this anime? Let me know in the comments below, and you could also suggest what anime would you like to hear next. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching. Till next time.